What do you think of Neil Strauss Book, The Game? Still valid?
Well, I actually never read that book. I read a little bit of it, and I've heard him speak years ago. And I can't imagine that. Well, I mean, I'm sure probably people still are because there's a lot of routines and things in there. But if you know the story behind it, it's like the dude struggled a lot because the problem with all the guys in the pickup artist community is they did a good job and created a good method that worked for them and their geekiness and their nerdiness that created this image of the most awesome dude. But once their magic tricks and their repertoire of jokes, they had run through them all, what always happened is the women realized that these dudes had nothing else going on. They were just basically a comedy routine, if you will. And then after a few weeks, they get dumped, they get their hearts broken, and get treated like doormats. So as far as, I mean, I think it's maybe a good book to read, but does it really apply? Is it really going to give you long-term sustainable success? Obviously not. Didn't work out for the authors. Those dudes of all mystery, all of them have had a hell of a time, had a lot of problems over the years. They just haven't been able to keep women around that they wanted. And that's the problem with the pickup artist community. It might be a short-term attainable strategy, but it's not sustainable. So I don't see how, it's kind of like Rollo Tomasi's work, which I think is a good book to read, but too many dudes are reading that and getting into it like it's a religion and using an excuse to say, oh, all women suck. And then they don't participate. Or they go around bitter and angry and they come across a pretty girl like Carolyn and they're just bubbling and stewing with anger and hostility, and she's going to be like, oh, okay, get away from me, dude.
Yeah.
You're going to repulse women. And that's, I've just seen it countless times over the last several years. Is people in the comments, people I've coached, people have sent me emails. They get into that red pill stuff and all they do is become angry and bitter towards women. There's no strategies. There's just, here's all the reasons why women suck. Well, it's like, okay, well, then what?
Yeah.
How are you going to get what you want?
They're going back to the old ages where, like, women weren't accepted at all. We couldn't do anything because we weren't worthy.
Yeah, you were property, basically.
Yeah, terrible. Why would you want to stay in that mindset?
Because it's easy. It's easy to quit. It's easy to be a bitch. It's easy to be weak.
Yeah.
It's easy to shrink from responsibility. It's easy to be lazy. It's easy to not go for what you want. It's easy to quit and give up.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to go for the things you want. It's hard to be self-reliant. It's hard to get up and motivate yourself to go to the gym decade after decade. Eat healthy decade after decade. Most people don't do it. Like we were talking about at lunch today, it's like most people get into their mid to late 20s and they'll never exercise or do any kind of thing to take care of their bodies again. And then by the time they're in their 40s or 50s, they're on all kinds of pills and medications. They're morbidly obese.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're dropping dead of heart attacks.
Yeah. I don't know why people like taking the easy way out.
Because they're weak.
There's no fun in that.
People do more to avoid pain than they do to gain pleasure. And so to them, striving and going for what they want, it means pain.
Mm-hmm.
What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose all my money in that business? What if that girl rejects me?
Yeah.
What if we date for a while and she leaves me for a better guy?
But what do you have to lose?
They want to avoid rejection and failure because that's the pain that they're trying to avoid. They don't think about the pleasure they'll get potentially.
I believe you're already failing, so you're not really losing much. If you're not going to ask her, if you're not going to go out of your way to talk to her, you're not getting her regardless. So what are you losing?
Life requires your participation. It's a participatory sport.
But if that's how they like to live, I mean...
Most people are mediocre. We're surrounded by average people, and they're never going to go beyond where they're living.